This Aquarius full moon is far from ordinary, and boy do I have the perfect story to go with it. If this doesn't shock you, then I don't know what will. Uranus is the planetary ruler of astrology, and what I'm going to share with you today will showcase the real evolutionary power it holds. Tonight, we stand at a crossroads of powerful cosmic energies, calling us to awaken to our true potential and step into our power like never before. Welcome, Radiant Souls, to another cosmic moment as we gather under the brilliant light of the full moon, exacting today, August 19th, 2024, at 27 degrees Aquarius. This full moon brings potent opportunity for personal awakening, collective healing, and radical shifts in how we express our individuality while contributing to the greater whole. Therefore, I'm taking a unique approach to what would other be the typical informative celestial event video. I must seize this opportunity to share with you how this lunation has personally shaken me to the core of my being, synchronistically enlightening me with information that transcends time and space. Hence the shirt I've chosen to wear for this video. I am future, past, and present, which I sell, by the way, on my website, stellasage.com. I'll leave a link to it below if you like. Before I dive into all the drama, please help me out by liking this video, and by the end, if you're as shocked as I am, feel free to share it with your friends so you can gossip all about it, or just tell me what you think in the comments. This is crazy. So get this. Uranus, the planetary ruler of this lunation, happens to be exactly conjunct my Vertex at 27 degrees Taurus, and is forming a potent T-square to the moon in Aquarius, opposing the sun in Leo at 27 degrees, which also happens to be separating from a Mercury retrograde Cazimi, which occurred only yesterday. And in case you don't know this, the vertex is a calculated point in the natal chart associated with fate and significant encounters or karmic events that are destined to bring about life-changing experiences. But that is far from the only aspect contributing to the significance of this overarching story. So I feel like I have to share this story so that I myself can just wrap my head around all this. Speaking of which, Uranus is also conjunct Algol, the intense fixed star associated with losing one's head. And boy, do I feel like I have lost my mind, like blown straight up to the heavens. Algol can feel like a force of destruction, providing transformation through intense and chaotic experiences. But it's important to remember, destruction often precedes creation. This aspect is here to heighten our awareness through unavoidable pressure felt by this T-square, and break through anything that's been holding us back from personal freedom and our higher purpose. Also influencing this lunation is another T-square, created by a combination of 4 other planets in the mutable signs. Mars and Jupiter are conjunct in Gemini and forming the tension point between Saturn and Pisces opposing Venus in Virgo. All of which are extremely relevant to this bigger story that's been playing out for me personally over the course of this last year. So at the start of this year is when I began creating content for this YouTube channel. And little did I know it, hindsight 2020, but I just realized I have been documenting a series of details adding up to what might be the most impactful year of my life thus far. As a 34-year-old, this year activates my 11th house through annual Profection. I myself just learned about this technique from a brilliant astrologer here on YouTube, Lori Lothian, with Lunatic Astrology. See, she's been covering mundane astrology through the lens of natal charts of politicians to predict what's going to happen in the US elections. And she's been spot on with all of her predictions. It's like quite amazing. Anyway, annual Profections are an ancient Hellenistic timing technique in astrology, used to determine themes, energies, and areas of focus for each year of a person's life. And in this method, every year of life is associated with a specific house in the natal chart, which highlights the themes ruled by that house for the year. Synchronistically to today's topic, the 11th house is the natural house of Aquarius, known as the house of your hopes and wishes and long-term goals. It governs themes around support from others, both personal and professional, with friendships, social circles, and networking, as well as community involvement and humanitarian efforts. So for 34 years of age, the planet ruling the sign on your 11th house cusp becomes the Time Lord for the year, and will play a significant role in shaping your experiences. The condition of that planet in your natal whole sign chart, its sign, house, and aspects, will influence the nature of the events that unfold. And for me, as a Libra rising, Leo rules my whole sign 11th house, which means the sun becomes my Time Lord for the year. Now, ironically, my natal moon is in the sign Leo, and my sun is in Capricorn, which once in a blue moon, we experience 2 back-to-back full moons in the same sign. And this year just so happened to be in the sign Capricorn. But not only that, my progressed sun happens to be at 26 degrees Aquarius. only 1 degree away from this full moon. Seriously, it's not like I can make this shit up. And trust me when I say, I haven't even scratched the surface to the amount of synchronicities involved here. Just wait. I will show you. But first, let me shine the spotlight back to you as we quickly explore the significance of this full moon for the collective. These potent T-square aspects are asking us to balance the impulse for growth and expansion with disciplined, spiritual, and compassionate action. It's a time to question our beliefs, rethink our strategies, and embrace the magic that comes with change. With all this energy swirling around, there are 4 main themes to focus on. The first is liberation and radical change. Aquarius urges us to break free from old restrictions, both internal and external. So ask yourself, where in your life are you playing it small or holding back because of fear or outdated beliefs? This full moon is your cosmic invitation to embrace radical change and step fully into your authentic power. The second is innovation and creativity. Aquarius is an air sign representing mental clarity and imagination. Now is the time to let your creative ideas flow freely. Pay attention to flashes of insights or sudden inspirations, and don't be afraid to think outside of the box. Whether it's in your personal life, your work, or your spiritual practice, just allow yourself to be a visionary. The third is community and collective awakening. Aquarius governs groups, friendships, and the collective. This full moon asks us to consider how we can contribute to the greater good. We're being called to find ways to connect with others, share our unique gifts, and be of service to humanity. So how can your individuality uplift and inspire others? Don't shy away, it's in there somewhere. And the last thing is finding the balance between logic and emotion. With this full moon opposing the sun in Leo and Mercury retrograde, this is a powerful time to reflect on the balance between the heart and the mind, the ego and collective service. Leo's influence reminds us to shine our light, but Aquarius teaches us to do so in a way that serves the greater good. So reflect on how you can lead with both passion and purpose. So now I'm going to tell my story, and I'm going to do so in Mercury retrograde fashion by taking you through a compilation of clips that I created for this channel. And they showcase all the synchronicities that have been presenting themselves to me through the transiting cosmic energies and themes, which seems to have been guiding me over the course of this whole year, leading me to this exact moment of revelation. So the catalyst to this current epiphany was a friend of mine who just had his birthday on August 12th. And he's been super curious about understanding his astrology chart. So innocently, I offered to read it for him as a birthday gift. So the last few days, I have been studying his chart, and let me just say, boy, was I not expecting it to show me this. So this is the story for how I uncovered the topic of my soul's mission and discovered that I have a twin flame who is destined to find me. So in this lifetime, we can master our dharma together with a lot of karma to get through first. And look, I know how this sounds, but trust me, you'll believe it too when I show you our charts. But now, I have to confess, he doesn't actually know any of this yet. Well, at least I haven't told him anything. I mean, he has his moon in the 12th house, so who knows? He could have intuitively sensed this long before I knew anything of it. First, a little background. By now, you're probably already aware that 2024 is an 8-year in numerology. We're still coming out of the height of the energies surrounding the Lionsgate portal, which was extra potent this year, with it occurring on 888. But 9 years ago, 2015, was the last time we experienced the energies of the 8-8 portal during an 8-year. And despite being completely oblivious to the deeper meaning of that date at the time, I got married on that day. Though I did consciously choose that day, knowing the number 8 symbolized infinity, and I liked how it symbolized we'd be together forever. So I thought. But 5 years later, it was during my Saturn return, that on my 30th birthday, January 12th, we experienced a rare 500-year astrological event called the Great Conjunction of 2020. a Saturn-Pluto Cazimi conjunct my natal sun in Capricorn. Some other astrological details to quickly make note of about that day, which will hold significance later on in the story. Mercury was also forming a tight orb conjunction to this Cazimi, and Jupiter and the South Node were also traveling through Capricorn and were conjunct my natal Uranus. And transiting Uranus had recently entered my 7th house, the house of partnerships. And a few weeks later, my husband and I decided to get divorced. But see, at the time, all of this was unbeknownst to me. It wasn't until 2022 when I was awakened to astrology and became obsessed with it, using it as a tool to deepen my understanding about myself. And it was like the first time in my life I had felt seen, accepted, and validated. And that is the healing power of astrology and why I do what I do here on YouTube. And at the end of that year, I traveled to LA to celebrate the new year with my best friend from high school. And it was during that trip when I was reintroduced to the guy whom I'm doing this chart reading for. Even though we first met in high school, I have a terrible memory, so I had no real recollection of him. And he too traveled from Chicago, so both of us were staying at my friend's condo in LA. And it was during that trip when I almost fell in love with him. But when I told my friend about it, she told me she thought that he had a thing for her. And even though I didn't see it, I thought, well, they talk all the time. And he did travel all the way to LA to see her. So yeah, that's quite possibly true. But either way, I kind of sensed that she wanted it to be true, so I felt like he was just off limits. Plus, I got lured in by a narcissist with a bunch of money that I met at the New Year's party, which had me totally confused for nearly the rest of the year. But while I was in LA, I could not shut up about astrology. And even though we looked up all of our charts when we were together, I really didn't know enough about astrology to be able to actually read anything beyond my own chart. But now, when I think back on it, I cannot believe that I completely missed all of this, because it's just so apparent. Let's start with the fact that he was born exactly 8 months to the day after me. Granted, he was born in a completely different country, so time zone's different, but both of us 30-ish minutes after midnight. But I'm going to call it exactly 8 months apart. And just wait, you'll see how this number continues to be highly relevant in this story. Okay, so now I think it's a good time to take the first look at our Synastry chart. And then you too will start to see why it seems like I've lost my mind. And in case you don't already know, a Synastry chart refers to the combined natal chart of two people when overlaid with one another. Now, I wasn't actually looking at our Synastry chart when I first noticed all of this. I just know all the major placements of my own chart by heart. That rhymed. But once I saw this, I couldn't help myself. I just had to look it up. So for now, let me just start with showing you what immediately stood out to me. Like, I think I actually saw flashing lights as soon as my eyes locked onto this aspect, which indicates an undeniable karmic connection. Enough to convince me that he is my twin flame. But whatever the case, for the rest of this story, I'm just going to refer to him as my twin. Now, of course, being born in the same year, we're going to have quite a few similarities, one of which being when the transiting South Node happened to be in Leo and the North Node in Aquarius. The nodal axis is key to understanding life purpose and the karmic lessons of a chart, offering deep insights into one's spiritual path. But as you may know, the moon moves approximately 1 degree every 2 hours and stays in a sign for roughly only 2 days. Not only that, but the angles of your chart are mathematically determined by a number of factors. So not only is it significant that my moon falls in the same sign as his sun, but check this out. The fact that his south node is conjunct his IC, which happens to be exactly conjunct my moon, and his sun is conjunct my south node by a 1-degree orb. Whoa. That is a shocking revelation. Like, that is so rare, it seems impossible. The south node in astrology represents your past experiences, karmic patterns, and inherent talents. It is often associated with qualities or behaviors that feel familiar and comfortable because they stem from past lives, early conditioning, or deeply ingrained habits. In astrology, the IC refers to the Latin word imum coeli, meaning bottom of the sky, and represents the 4th house cusp, and is a key point in your natal chart, reflecting the foundation of your inner world and where you come from on a deep emotional level, symbolizing your roots, home, family, and private life. And the moon rules your 4th house, which represents your emotions, instincts, inner self, and subconscious mind. The moon represents your innate personality, the way that you process feelings, and the nature of your inner world. The moon is also often linked to karma and past lives, due to its connection with the subconscious mind, deep emotional memories, and instinctual behavior. It represents the emotional imprints carried from previous incarnations and early life experiences. So not only that, but another super interesting observation about this axis lends to the reasoning why I believe the Placidus house system is so much more insightful than whole sign houses. Because, see, according to our rising signs, me Libra, him Gemini, neither one of us would have the Leo Aquarius axis fall in our 4th and 10th house whole sign house axis. But here it does. And with Placidus being so much more unique for each person, here we can see this interesting juxtaposition with his sun falling in his 4th house and my moon falling in my 10th house, which is reversed from what would be a more natural position for each. So seeing this, it just seems like some greater hidden force deliberately intended to highlight this juxtaposition and further showcase a very specific relationship between our charts. Now, there are a lot more crazy aspects, which I'm going to continue to point out as we go along. But first, let's just take a moment to talk about the karmic significance of my natal sun. See, my sun sits exactly conjunct the asteroid Karma, both at 21 degrees Capricorn. But let's look at how deeply synchronistic this actually is. To explain, let's just watch a few clips from my Capricorn new moon video, which, ironically, I just so happened to focus on these topics in that video. But first, let me remind you that it's my 11th house Profection year, which for me makes the sun my time lord for the year. And this year, the Capricorn new moon occurred the day before my birthday, aka my solar return, on January 11th, the 111 portal, thus conjunct my natal sun. And just another thing to note, the angel number 11 is commonly referred to in the context of twin flames. It's a sign representative of being in energetic alignment with the twin flame journey. So now, take a look. Hey star siblings, welcome to Stella Sage. Today we're diving into the cosmic energies of this new moon in Capricorn. The date of this new moon, January 11th, 2024, is heavenly aligned with the 111 portal. The number 111 symbolizes a strong connection between the spiritual and material realms. It's a powerful and spiritually significant number, known to be a sign that your thoughts, intentions, and actions are all aligning with the universal energies, signaling that you are on the right path and that your desires are in the process of materializing. What makes this even more special is that according to numerology, the entirety of this date translates to the vibration of 11. In numerology, the number 11 is considered a master number. It is one of 3 master numbers, along with 22 and 33, which carry a higher spiritual significance. The number 11 is often referred to as the intuitive illuminator or messenger. It embodies intuition, spiritual awareness, and a connection to higher consciousness. 11 also represents duality and balance, as it consists of 2 parallel lines. It suggests the potential for a deeper inner journey, seeking both spiritual and material balance. Speaking of signs, this actually made me cry when I noticed it. So I was finishing up the edits for that video on the day of the new moon, and there was a small portion that I wanted to get B-roll for. Look, you can see the date. So how crazy is this? I unknowingly was recording this sign being installed on the building across the street from my home. And I didn't realize until I was editing the footage, and I was like, what is that? Can you tell what it is? It's a fucking sun. I just thought it was a funny joke the universe was playing on me because Leo is my moon sign and I was recording a video about the moon being in my sun sign. But I just found out like a week ago that my sun is also my Profection Time Lord for the year. And another synchronicity with whole sign houses, my sun is in my 4th house, which again represents your home. Okay, but back to karma. Let me quickly point out, Saturn is also the traditional ruler of the sign Aquarius, which happens to be the sign of my natal Venus placement. And as a Libra rising, Venus is my chart ruler, which adds significance to her placement in my chart. And because I was born while Venus was retrograde, my progressed Venus is currently conjunct my natal sun, both at 21 degrees. But not only that, my progressed Saturn is also conjunct only a degree away. And although this sounds harsh, but now listen to this. In astrology, Saturn is associated with structure, discipline, and responsibility, and the passage of time. Capricorns are often characterized by their strong work ethic, sense of duty, and commitment to achieving their goals. In Vedic astrology, Saturn is also associated with Dharma, which encompasses righteous living and fulfilling one's duties with responsibilities. Aligning with one's Dharma is seen as a way to accrue positive karma and progress on the spiritual path. It's important to note that while Saturn is associated with karmic challenges, its influence can also bring opportunities for personal and spiritual development. The lessons learned through Saturn's influence contribute to the soul's evolution and an ongoing journey towards self-realization. In Vedic traditions and numerology, Saturn is associated with the number 8, which also speaks to karma, power, transformation, material resources, and eternity. 2024 is an 8 year, and 8 in numerology holds a similar vibration to the number 1, adding to the numerological significance of this lunation. The mystic origins of Capricorn tie into the soul's journey towards spiritual evolution. Capricorns are thought to carry a deep sense of responsibility, not only in the material world, but also in their spiritual development. The climb up the symbolic mountain represents the soul's ascent towards enlightenment. In esoteric astrology, Capricorn is associated with karmic lessons and the mastery of earthly challenges. Individuals born under the sign are believed to carry a sense of responsibility for their own spiritual growth and the collective evolution of humanity. The sea goat symbolism also connects to the alchemical process of transformation. Capricorns are seen as alchemists, transmuting challenges into opportunities for growth and personal evolution. This mystic aspect aligns with the idea of turning the lead of life's experiences into the gold of wisdom. Saturn's influence in Capricorn is linked to the concept of time and eternity. Capricorns have a profound understanding of the cyclical nature of time, appreciating the wisdom gained through experience and the eternal aspect of the soul's journey. And let's just touch on the transit aspects highlighted by the Capricorn new moon, which will provide insights into what's to come. The planetary transits and alignments contribute to the overall energy of the new moon, and there is so much being activated in the sky at this time. This new moon squares the nodes of the moon, the karmic axis representing our destiny. The new moon squaring the nodal axis is emphasizing the important opportunity that we have at this time to follow our destiny. This is especially true with the north node next to Chiron transiting in the sign of Aries, and Venus being the ruling planet of the south node in Libra. Aries being the first sign of the zodiac and ruler of the first house, again nodding at the energy of the number 1. And with the north node, emphasizes independence, courage, and taking bold steps. While Libra on the south node represents past habits related to partnerships, harmony, and seeking approval. Self-love is a key theme with this, and we're really being called to use our inner power to heal ourselves and lead from the heart at this time. Okay, so let me remind you that as a Libra rising, the fact that this year the south node simultaneously happens to be transiting this sign is quite significant for me. The ascendant and descendant are key points on an astrological chart. Directly opposite each other, they serve as fundamental indicators of how we interact with the world and others. The ascendant is the sign rising on the eastern horizon at the exact time of your birth, marking the beginning cusp of the first house in your natal chart. It represents your outward persona, how you present yourself to the world, and how others perceive you. The descendant marks the cusp of the 7th house, which governs relationships and partnerships. It reflects what we need in relationships to grow and balance our personal identity with others. So now let's take another quick look at our Synastry chart. Look at my twin's moon. It is exact by degree conjunct my descendant. And if we don't already get this by my moon to his south node, we'll get it here. See, when your partner's moon is conjunct your descendant in Synastry, it suggests a relationship where emotional understanding, nurturing, and deep connection are central themes. This is often a loving and intimate bond where you both feel deeply connected and supported by one another's emotional presence. But like I mentioned earlier, his moon sits in his 12th house, as well as his Mars, though different signs. And the 12th house is another deeply karmic house. It is associated with things that are beneath the surface of consciousness, such as dreams, spiritual experiences, and unresolved psychological issues. It is also linked to themes of endings, self-undoing, and transcendence. But not only that, now that I'm revisiting this, ironically during Mercury retrograde, I can now see how this also seems to be nodding to another theme that strongly stands out in this overarching story, and that's in relation to the planets Mars and Venus. More on that later, but for now, I just want to highlight how I was inspired to focus on these two planets back in May, when they were both traveling through their home signs. And I created a video about them in relation to the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Though not my intention, but again, these are themes heavily used in the context of twin flames. Okay, now listen to this. This aspect between the North Node in Aries can bring tension between personal ambitions, Capricorn, and the life path or destiny of the North Node in Aries. A square with the South Node in Libra suggests a tension between your individual ambitions and past relationship patterns or tendencies. We're being directed to examine whether our ambitions align with our true purpose and whether you're taking enough initiative to pursue your authentic goals. So now, how many aspects have I already mentioned that have nodded to a past life love? The redundancy is making it so palpable that it seems like the universe is making certain I can't miss the fact that all signs are pointing backwards. But what's also interesting to make note of are the other planetary influences of that lunation in relation to the current energies being activated during this Aquarius full moon. And now knowing that my twin south node is conjunct my natal moon, both at 5 degrees Leo, just pay attention to the degrees being aspected here. Saturn, being the ruler of Capricorn, has a special relationship with this new moon, and it's making some very favorable aspects. Saturn in Pisces is sextiling Mars in the sign of Capricorn. Saturn is also in a sextile to Jupiter in Taurus. On the next day, January 12th, then we also have Mars trining Jupiter. And we also have this new moon in a trine to Uranus in the sign of Taurus. The new moon trine Uranus brings flashes of insight. With Uranus relating to freedom, innovation, and humanity, this favorable aspect to the moon will serve as a bridge to align with personal, spiritual, and collective consciousness. Which brings me to my next point. As Uranus is the modern ruler of the sign Aquarius, and the much anticipated transit of Pluto entering Aquarius will happen during this lunation cycle, just after the sun makes an exact conjunction to it on January 20th. Pluto's activity under the new moon, although it's making a wide orb conjunction, it still holds powerful influence, symbolizing transformation and adding a boost of power to manifestation energies. So let's go real deep now and talk about Pluto. In evolutionary astrology, Pluto represents the soul's deep karmic journey and its evolutionary intentions over multiple lifetimes. Pluto is seen as a planet of profound transformation, death and rebirth, and the evolution of the soul. It symbolizes the core emotional and psychological issues that the soul must confront, transform, and heal to progress on its spiritual path. Its placement in your chart reveals where the soul has experienced trauma, obsession, or deep emotional wounding in past incarnations, and where it seeks healing and resolution. The house shows the area of life where transformative experiences are likely to occur, while the sign reflects the style and nature of the lessons. Pluto's polarity point, the opposite sign and house of Pluto, is considered an important area for balance and integration in the evolutionary journey. It represents the qualities and experiences that the soul needs to develop in order to evolve beyond its Plutonian issues. Now, there's something really fascinating happening here. See, in my chart, Pluto is in my first house at 17 degrees Scorpio, making the polarity point of Pluto 17 degrees Taurus. And do you remember where my twin's Mars is positioned? Just a few degrees away at 19 degrees Taurus. Which I don't know if you noticed, but that happens to be the exact degree Uranus was hanging out at the beginning of the year, creating a trine to the Capricorn new moon, and also my natal sun. Believe it or not, this gets way more significant. But first, let's listen to a few sections from my video on Pluto's transit into Aquarius. Kick back and listen up, because this is powerful energy. And Pluto in Aquarius is quite literally the concept knowledge is power, manifested in the sky. We are entering an era when the knowledge of magic becomes mainstream and gives humanity the keys to unlock the greatest power that they own. We are diving deep into Pluto's ingress into Aquarius and the impact it will have on humanity over the next 20 years. When it comes to the universe, there is no such thing as coincidence. Everything happens for a reason, and everything is a sign. The fact that Pluto's ingress into Aquarius is taking place between the new moon we just had in Capricorn on the 111 portal and an 11 day, and is culminating with a full moon in Leo, which rules over the sun and is the opposite sign of Aquarius. Not to mention, Leo is associated with the Strength card in the tarot, which also happens to be the number 8 in the major arcana. Now, what makes Saturday extra special is that Pluto will hit an exact conjunction to the minute with the sun, making this a Pluto Cazimi in Capricorn just minutes before the sun's ingress into Aquarius. And then later that same day, Pluto will join. Now, let's back up slightly. Pluto first hit 29 degrees of Capricorn on February 11th last year. Pluto at 29 degrees is a big deal, but Pluto making a conjunction with the sun at this degree is a very big deal. See, the anaretic degree, or the 29th degree of any sign, is considered to be extra potent because the energies reach a culmination before they shift to the next sign and start a whole new cycle. The 29th degree is associated with chaos, culmination, pressure, and of course, fate. So for example, people who have natal planets or points at 29 degrees tend to have a fairly dramatic experience pertaining to those planets or points and their characteristics. Personally, as someone who is very Plutonian, I have a natal first house Pluto, which you may know is one of the most impactful placements to have, and it sits at an exact square to my nodes, the karmic points of destiny. It also sextiles my Capricorn stellium, making a tight aspect to 4 of my planets. And it's currently finishing its transit through the sign by making an exact conjunction to my 29th degree Capricorn IC. So yeah, feel free to ask me anything you want to know about it, but let's just say this is a big transit for me and I feel more than qualified to talk about it. So let's get started. Pluto is the cosmic catalyst that propels us into the depths of our collective and individual evolution. In astrology, Pluto has significant symbolism as the modern ruler of the 8th sign of the zodiac, Scorpio. It is associated with transformation, regeneration, power, the occult, and intense psychological processes. Pluto's influence is often linked to deep, transformative experiences and the shedding of old patterns for rebirth. Its psychic and detective nature gives it the ability to uncover hidden truths. Pluto is often feared because of its intensity and destructive power. Along with its title as god of the underworld, the mythology, along with the terms underworld and hell, evoke feelings of fear, judgment, ridicule, resistance, and rejection. But really what this is referring to is the dark side of our subconscious. And Pluto knows that truly the most wholesome path to enlightenment is the light at the other side of the journey through darkness, also known as the dark night of the soul. Millennials born between 1983 and 1995 have an important role to play over the next 20 years, as our power to transform the collective is amplified in our lives, since we were born with Pluto in its home rulership of Scorpio. We're now at the developmental stage to claim our power and change the collective for the better. We are needed, and this is our time to step up. This is even more true for those of us that were born between May 23rd, 1989 and November 18th of 1990. Because we also have our North Node in Aquarius, which in astrology is a karmic point of destiny and seen as a guide towards an individual's life path and purpose. It suggests qualities and experiences that are beneficial for personal and spiritual growth. Just throwing that out there, but let's get back to it. Now, in the major arcana, the star card comes after the hermit card, which can be interpreted as a representation of the dark night of the soul. On this card, you can see that the light that's shining from his lantern is actually a star. I think a good portion of Pluto in Aquarius will be a time of collective dark night. But the hope for a better humanity is what will be our guiding light, our North Star. The 11th house is also linked to future aspirations, long-term goals, and the pursuit of one's dreams, which is why we can see its correlation to the star card in the tarot. The star card is a powerful and positive symbol representing hope, inspiration, and spiritual guidance. It's a card that encourages you to stay true to your dreams and that the pursuit of your aspirations can manifest positive outcomes. But there is a lot more to this card that I think hints at the outcome of Pluto in Aquarius. The presence of the large star in the sky symbolizes guidance from above. When this card shows up in a reading, it suggests that the querent is on the right path and is being watched over by higher forces. And if you saw my video about the Capricorn new moon, you might remember this message is strongly present in the number 11 and angel numbers 111 or 1111. In many tarot decks, the star card features 8 stars, which can be associated with the energy of the number 8. Now, this card is the number 17 in the major arcana, and in numerology, you always reduce down to a single digit, unless for numbers like 11, 22, and 33. So in this case, with it being 17, this card actually reduces down to the number 8. Now let's talk more about the number 8, because 2024 is an 8 year. And we can see this energy is very present in the astrology. As I stated before, Pluto rules over the 8th sign of the zodiac, Scorpio. In numerology, Saturn is associated with the number 8, and Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius and Capricorn. So let's talk about the significance of Pluto squaring my nodal axis at 17 degrees Leo and Aquarius. Now, we kind of already gathered this, but in evolutionary astrology, when Pluto squares the nodal axis, it suggests that there are unresolved issues or missed evolutionary lessons from past lives that need to be confronted in this lifetime. In order for the soul to grow past these karmic patterns, you rewind the nodal axis to see which node was the last one to conjunct Pluto. And that's essentially the step that you bypassed in your previous lifetime. And that becomes your resolutionary node that you need to focus on. And if it wasn't already obvious, mine is my South Node in Leo. My South Node in Leo indicates that I'm coming from a past life experience centered around issues of pride, ego, leadership, and personal recognition. The fact that his sun is conjunct my South Node amplifies this theme, and it shows that he may have been a key figure in that past, helping shape these unresolved patterns. Pluto, with its square to my nodes, intensifies this karmic lesson, particularly around issues of power, control, and transformation. In the first house, Pluto emphasizes the need for me to reclaim my personal power, assert my identity, and face deep psychological transformation. Yes, this is super intense, just like this Aquarius full moon. But hang tight, because we're about to take it to a whole nother level. But before we go there, let's just take a moment to lighten things up a bit and watch a few clips from my Leo full moon video. Today we're diving into the details of the lunation that loves to shine, the Leo full moon. This full moon is taking place at 5 degrees of Leo, which happens to be my natal moon placement. So I'm feeling quite special right about now, not gonna lie. Now, this Leo full moon is different than any other of its kind we've ever experienced before, because this is the first time we have the sun, which rules Leo, by the way, hanging out with the transformative planet Pluto in Aquarius, creating an opposition to this full moon. The sun is a symbol of vitality, energy, and the core self. The sun in an individual's chart is what most people know about and is referred to as your zodiac sign. It represents the core essence of an individual. And the sun sign and its house placement, along with its aspects to other planets, offer insights into one's fundamental sense of self and personal power. In alchemy, the sun is often associated with the Philosopher's Stone, symbolizing the transformative and illuminating power within. Now, considering that this star is what all the other planets in our solar system revolve around, it's no surprise that Leos are known to shine brightly, seeking attention and adoration of others. And their vibrant personalities tend to make it easy to do so. Okay, now let's get into this cosmic drama that's unfolding in the skies, shall we? This lunation at 5 degrees Leo amplifies the call for personal evolution and liberation, and wants us to explore the richness of life's experiences. Look at which house 5 degrees Leo is in your natal chart, and this will show you what areas of your life are being highlighted with these themes. And let me know in the comments, what message is the universe speaking to you about? I'm going to make another video about how all these synchronicities are coming to play in my own chart and take you through my transformative journey together in my home, my sanctuary that I am most proud of, and show you the transformations I even did in my home as I used to be an interior designer. So I'm all about transformation, and if you've seen any of my other videos, you know a little bit about what I mean when I say that. I want to talk about the Strength card because I think it can help us if we embody this card within our personal transformation journeys. The Strength card in the tarot is a powerful and symbolic card that carries positive and empowering messages, along with the essence of Leo and the number 8, which also happens to be the energy of 2024. And is associated with balance, power, and transformation. The Strength card encourages us to harness our inner power with grace and compassion, approaching situations with a calm and gentle strength. It reminds the seeker that true power comes from within, and challenges can be overcome with a balanced and compassionate mindset. And if the themes of authenticity, initiation, and change weren't strong enough already, on the 26th, Uranus turns direct. And right now, it is the only planet that is in retrograde motion. So when Uranus turns direct, get ready for sudden breakthroughs and all cylinders firing, direct motion. So as the Leo full moon with the sun conjunct Pluto illuminates the sky, it imparts a powerful lesson. It encourages us to embrace our inner strength, express our authenticity, and to embark on a journey of self-discovery with courage, passion, and dedication. Just like the alchemical process turns the green lion into gold, this lunation prompts us to transform challenges into opportunities, ultimately shining with our own radiant light. Similarly, this lunation invites us to embrace our raw, authentic selves, acknowledging that true growth requires facing and transmuting our shadows. It's about living on the path of radical responsibility, while simultaneously liberating ourselves from the glamour that we falsely see as reality, which covers the truth beneath. The truth that our ego has purpose and power that stretches beyond the self. It's here to play an integral role for the collective, the almighty one. So the question becomes, who are you really? Well, that wraps up our exploration of the Leo full moon. Okay, so let's see how this relates to my twin's chart. See, my twin has a fixed T-square in his natal chart, with Mars and Pluto in opposition, and with his Leo sun being the anchor point. Again, his sun is conjunct my south node. This T-square aspect indicates significant tension around issues of power, security, and self-expression. But it also offers the potential for profound personal growth, self-awareness, and transformation. particularly through the creative and leadership-oriented energy of having his sun in Leo. And keep in mind that Uranus turned direct while conjunct his natal Mars. The challenge for both of us is to integrate the evolutionary lessons of the North Node in Aquarius, which calls for moving away from ego-driven desires, Leo, and towards collective humanitarian ideals, Aquarius. And one last thing that I just want to mention, because it is super fascinating. So for both of us individually, the signs and houses that are in the opposition aspect also happen to be intercepted. So for me, that's Leo and Aquarius, and for him, it's Taurus and Scorpio. And intercepted signs are signs that do not appear on the cusp of any house in the Placidus chart, but instead lie entirely within a single house. Intercepted signs and the houses and the planets positioned there represent blocked or latent energies tied to the soul's karmic past. These areas of life hold deep evolutionary potential, but often require significant inner work to unlock and integrate. Now, when you have interceptions, that means that you automatically have duplicated signs, which occur when the same zodiac sign appears on the cusp of two consecutive houses in a natal chart. The duplication of signs indicates that the energy of the duplicated sign is emphasized and has a significant role in the individual's life. Now, how crazy is this? I don't know how, but for both of us individually, the signs ruling our ascendant-descendant axis are the duplicated signs. So for me, that's Aries and Libra, and for him, that's Gemini and Sagittarius. Speaking of which, those signs have a lot more to say about this twin flame journey and soul mission. But this video is getting too long, so I'm gonna have to make a part 2 for that. And let me just say, it's equally mind-blowing as what I've already called out here. But it's a lot lighter and more fun than all of this heavy baggage. But since this video was inspired by the Aquarius Full Moon, it's only natural to end with some clips from the lunation that began this Aquarian moon cycle, which also starts to explain the overarching concept of my true life purpose. Today, we're diving deep into the future of the profound relevance of these cosmic energies that are surrounding the new moon in Aquarius. Today's exploration of this lunation will be like none other, not just because the astrology is the first of its kind to happen since 248 years ago, but also because I'll be calling attention to a powerful synchronicity that I noticed but haven't heard anyone else mention it yet. I suppose that's because it's my job as a manifestor in human design, holding a carnation cross and various channels that highlight to this exact type of responsibility. With that said, please hold a moment while I put on my big girl panties and step into this role that the universe initiated me into. Now, I want to preface this video by saying I'm an intuitive energy worker that studies various divination tools and occult symbolism to explore the deeper meanings in life. As someone with a natal Uranus opposition to a 9th house Jupiter in Cancer, I explore truths through a boundless approach to traditional understandings, letting my intuition guide me. So basically, if someone tells me, oh, it doesn't work that way, or that's not how you're supposed to do it, my immediate inclination is to say, why not? What happens if I do? Let me just try so I can see for myself. So here we are today. I'm totally expecting someone to say, oh, moon cycles don't work like that. But I have reason to believe the energies of this new moon are setting the stage for the grand shift into the age of Aquarius. And the cosmic patterns we're experiencing now are like a prelude to the main event, which is a solar eclipse happening in February of 2027. See, right now, each of us individually are being implanted with a mutative energy that will undergo a gradual increase of transformation in our bodies. And by 2027, it's going to be reflected back in the external world in a pretty profound way. I myself have not fully processed the gravity of this information. However, I'm feeling called to share it as merely to bring awareness to this greater shift that is underway and how these current energies are playing into the big picture. A mutation that is occurring within our solar system, our collective energy, and our individual biology. Now let me tell you what illuminated this hypothesis to me. I've been feeling called to share more about my personal experience with my Pluto transits, and through that process of gathering data, I noticed that there will be an eclipse taking place on February 6th of 2027 in the sign Aquarius. This eclipse got my attention because it will be conjunct the same degree as my North Node, which will also be the last placement in my natal chart, besides my ascendant-descendant axis, that Pluto will make aspect to with either an exact conjunction or opposition to. And if you're familiar with Pluto, then you know how rare and extreme that is. Now, this highlighted the connection to the energies of this new moon because during that eclipse, the transiting North Node will be at 20 degrees Aquarius, the same degree as this new moon. Now, there is so much to be said about the importance of that eclipse, obviously for me on a personal level, but also how this is happening just weeks prior to the complete culmination of a 400-year energetic cycle, according to the human design theory, as well as the year that supposedly the first rave child will be born on Earth, an extraordinarily different human species born of human. Okay, so to me, there are three overarching themes here: the Aquarian age, the new global carnation cross, aka how we operate at the collective level, and 3, mass awakening and mutation of the human species. Now, what seems to be the key factor that ties it all together is mass transformation, aka Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto is connected to the soul. It is a very spiritual planet and is known for its profound transformational qualities. Uranus is the modern planetary ruler of Aquarius and was discovered by William Herschel in 1781, which happened to be the last time Pluto was transiting the sign of Aquarius. There's a deeper significance to the discovery of Uranus in terms of the evolution of our species, going from 7-centered beings to 9-centered beings. That evolutionary process is continuing to develop into this new age, specifically with our emotional processing system and our solar plexus. We are currently living through a time of unprecedented global mutation. In 2027, this mutation will take full effect, and our solar plexus center will become responsible for a new way we feel and process emotions. This process has been underway for some time now, but is increasingly becoming more and more obvious. Can you feel this tension that seems to be building on the planet? The friction between the old paradigm and the new wave? A new generation standing up and wanting something different? If so, then take it as your sign that you're on the right path. No, you are not crazy. Trust yourself. It is the utmost critical thing for you to rely on at this time. The end lesson for all 3 of those overarching themes is self-sovereignty. For the past 400 years, we have been living in the cross of planning, tribal energy, where social connection, being helpful in society, and bargaining via bringing value to other humans is what ensured our survival. In 2027, our global cycle will be shifting into the energy of the cross of the sleeping phoenix. We are moving into an individual energy, where each person must rely on spirit and their own inner guidance. The more awakened you are, connected with spirit, and living authentically, by remembering the purpose for why your higher self designed this human experience as so, and decondition yourself from arbitrary standards that don't take this into consideration, then the more you will thrive in this new age. Now let's get astrologically aligned. The new moon in Aquarius is a cosmic invitation to embrace change and innovation. This lunar event forms a dynamic square with the sign's ruler Uranus in Taurus at 19 degrees, intensifying the energy of transformation and revolution. This cosmic tango challenges the status quo, urging us to break free from limitations and embrace the unexpected. Now here's where it gets even more fascinating. The energies playing out over this lunation cycle are highly relevant to purify and activate our light bodies through mental, physical, and emotional mutations, all of which Pluto will be initiating into us on an individual level, as the series of each personal planet proceeds to enter Aquarius. The sun began the process by shining light on what shifts we can expect to see over the next 20 years, as well as why this transformational energy is both necessary and helpful for us at the collective level. Well, I hope you found this video both enlightening and inspiring. If so, send me a thumbs up. And tell me, are there signs following you around that are pointing you to your true purpose? What do you think it means? Share your story too, so that we can raise the collective consciousness and more people see what's really possible. Thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you back here soon for part 2. Until then, shine bright, star siblings.